Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Talia. I am a maker based out of Brooklyn, New York, and I am really bad at taking notes and keeping all of my projects organized in my head, and I don't have anyone in my close circle in my life who is interested in yarn or crafting at all, really, as much as I am. So I thought that maybe I would reach out to the online community. I have an Instagram, but even there I don't feel like I'm keeping my thoughts organized or like putting down all the information about these projects that I have that I want to. And well, I just figured that we could chat about what I'm doing. So first of all, it's Tour de Fleece right now. If you don't know what Tour de Fleece is, it takes place at the same time as Tour de France, where all the bicyclists are cycling, and while they're spinning, the spinners of the world are spinning yarn. Oh gosh, excuse me if there's a lot of noise. I do live in Brooklyn. But anyway, so I've been spinning a little bit for Tour de Fleece, and I have a couple things here. At first, I really was just cleaning my cleaning my spindles off. Bobbins would make sense if I had a wheel, which I do not. I just have little spindles. This was, I think this was the first one that I spun for Tour de Fleece. It's just like 23, 25 yards, something like that. And then this one too, because I still had this Corriedale single, that purple that's running through. I had that holding up one of my spindles, so I just kept plying it with other things to try to get rid of it. And then I still had more left, so I spun it into this. And those I spun, the singles I spun on this little Vermont spindle. It's a drop spindle. And it spins very, very, very finely. And I applied them up on this heavier Vermont spindle. I like to do all my applying on this drop spindle, even though I also really like my little support spindles. That's where I tend to do most of my spinning. Most of my spinning. I've only been spinning for like a year. I don't know what I'm talking about. I just am excited that I'm making yarn, so don't take any of this as expertise or how-tos or anything. I'm just telling you about what I'm excited about. So that's those little guys. And then, oh, these are all Corriedale, Blueface Leicester, and silk. This one is also Blueface Leicester and silk, and mulberry silk and tussa silk, which was fun to learn about the different silks. This one's a 2-ply and this one's a 3-ply. The 3-ply is just is actually 3 separate strands as opposed to a chain ply, which I really like to do. I like 3-plied yarns because I think they're rounder and like fluffier. Although that being said, I just spun up a bunch of Blueface Leicester, and I did that on my little support spindle from Dancing Goat. It's based on a Neolithic spindle whorl that was found, and I think it's very cool. One of the things I love about spinning is that it feels like you are very connected to the past, all of the humans of history that had to do this in order to stay clothed, and in order to decorate themselves. So that's that Blueface Leicester. And then I just spun up the rest of the Leicester that I had in my fiber stash. So that's what I've got here. All told, this is about, I don't know, this was like 90 yards, and this was less than that. This one was like 70 yards. See, maybe if I do this enough, I'll get better at remembering and writing down what I'm doing. Anyway, I've started to knit with my handspun. The first project I did with my handspun was I wove something. I wove like a rainbow piece of fabric on I have a little Cricut rigid heddle loom, 15 inches. And so I can't make a ton of fabric on it, but I can make it as long as I want to. And then I decided that it was time that I knit with some of my handspun. So here is a lace shawl. Because I'm a glutton for punishment, I decided the first the first lace pattern that's not repeating over and over again that I'm gonna do is a lace shawl with my handspun wool. So you really can't see it. I've made a bunch of mistakes. I've had to pull it out once and go back. I've learned a lot about lace knitting, and that you can't always trust the markers that you put in between your lace repeats. Although actually, it looks like I might have done okay. I tried. But this is all like the first yarns that I ever made that I'm now knitting into this. So up here, this is like a gray Romney that I blended just with like some hand carders. I blended it with some silk, a red silk and a blue silk. And then this like creamy patch is alpaca. So actually my mom bought me a little wicker globe thing that had alpaca like second cuts or off like, you know, bits of undesirable alpaca fleece stuffed in there so that you can hang it in your backyard and birds will come and line their nests with alpaca, all very lovely. But of course, as soon as there was some fluff around me, I just started spinning it. So I spun that up and then I knit it into here. The birds did get some though. I made sure that there was some for the birds, of course. But the majority of it ended up in here. And then the rest of this is all this sort of natural gray Romney. And it's a 2-ply and it's extremely thin. It's like lace, if that. You can see it against my hair. It's very thin, but it's fairly strong. It seems to be holding up pretty well. But the lace chart isn't done. I think I'm just past halfway, but I only have this much of my Romney left. And at first I thought, okay, I'll go buy some more gray Romney fleece and spin it up again, try to replicate what I did. So then I started looking back at this yarn to check if it was left twisted or right plied or left plied. Z and S, I always get so confused. I'm dyslexic, so I always have to think of it as right and left. Anyway, I found that each of the yarns, every time I join a new one, it's completely different. And I'm a little sad that I can't find the same gray. But I mean, of course I can't. I got this fleece like a year ago and I can't remember the farm's name, and so I just found another place that was selling natural Romney fleece, and and I got these lovely colors, but it's more of a brown gray. I've also got this little bit of a lighter white gray and this like lovely chocolatey, beautiful brown. I don't think the camera's picking that up. There's like some red in it. It's really gorgeous, but it's not at all like the fleece that I started with. So I've just started spinning that up on my little Turkish spindle. This is a 0.7 ounce, whoop, knocking the turtle off. The 0.7 ounce little glider. I forget the exact name of it, but it's a Snyder spindle. These are excellent spindles. I really, really love this spindle. It spins forever. I chipped it because I was walking and spinning and I banged it onto a piece of furniture and a piece just went flying off. But even though I chipped it, it still spins beautifully and straight, and it doesn't wibble wobble all over the place. It's fantastic. So anyway, it doesn't at all look like what I spun before, but I mean, it's already stripey. We can just have another color. And I think I will knit this last bit of the ball with the first bit of the next one, like, if that makes sense, to kind of make a stripe of both of those colors so that when I add the new one in, oh, that's my dog. Crisis over. I think it was the mailman. So, all panic, disarray, chaos. But we're laying down on the floor now, so everything's good. What was I saying? I'm gonna try to make it a little transitionary period between the gray that I have and the brown that I'm making. That's it in a nutshell. And this shawl pattern is free on Ravelry. It's called Marjorie shawl by Sanne Kalkman, S-A-N-N-E. It's a nice clear chart that I've been using. And I think it's a really fun knit. There's a chart so that you can make it as big or as small as you want. I'm making a pretty big size. It's like 2 up from this small size. And so maybe if I made the smaller size, I wouldn't have to spin more yarn, but I think it's a good problem to have. What else? So now that I'm using my hand spun, I want to, use it and start getting rid of it so that I can kind of keep this wheel turning. And so I started a little tablet weaving project with these two. These I spun. This one I spun on this drop spindle, this little guy. And this one I spun with my supported spindle, or my Neolithic supported spindle. And so I was doing this little like belt tablet weaving thing, and I started with it like hanging from my ceiling and wrapped around my waist, and it was chaos. So then I took it off of the weird ceiling contraption that I had, and I put it on my loom, my Cricut loom, and I left it downstairs. You'll have to trust me. And it's coming along pretty well. I think it was really hard on the yarn, on the wool, opening a new shuttle every time, and like, I think maybe I should have listened to all of the advice on the internet and instead used a cotton or something for my first project like that. So I don't want to use these for that kind of weaving, but I think I might use them for just plain weaving, and see what they look like together. I think it might be nice. This is a true 3-ply, this Corriedale. It was sample fiber that was actually sent with the Vermont spindles. And I spun up 3 spindles worth. So it's still really, really fine. I think it's even a lace weight still. All of the yarn that I've spun, except for my first couple balls, are fairly fine yarn. This one is my first, actually. It's my very first ball of yarn. And this one's like a nice, in some places it's DK, in some places it's a little bit bigger. I love this ball of yarn. I don't know if I ever want to use it. It might just remain as a proof of my knowledge. But I want to start using more of this stuff, and I was wondering, maybe this is the perfect opportunity to reach out to the community and ask, what should I do with this? What should I do? This is so beautiful. I haven't finished it yet. I haven't washed it and whacked it and dried it and then rewrapped it. But I have spun it. I spun all of this on this Russian style spindle. I don't know where I got it. I tried to find my receipt somewhere on Etsy. There's a million places that sell spindles that look like this, and I feel really bad that I can't find it. But if anyone recognizes this spindle as something they've bought, maybe you could let everybody know where it's from. But I like it a lot. It's quite light when there's nothing on it, but it spins very, very fast, which I love. But I spun this on it. This is Wensleydale and silk, Tussa silk. And I was thinking I would knit socks with it, but I've also been told that that is unwise. That woolen socks might not be a good idea, especially with the very precious hand spun. So I don't know. I don't know what to do with it. If anybody has any ideas, I would love to hear them. I think I'm going to make some more shawls. I think I'm going to make more shawls, and I think I'm going to make a cowl at some point. There's a cowl pattern that I have my eyes on called Uneven Surface. It's very cool. I've bought it already. It's by Dolly Lashram. Gosh, I hope I don't mispronounce all these names. I'm so sorry. Lashram. Yeah, it's very cool. You should look on Ravelry and see the pictures, because it's just a really textural knit, and I think that's something that I would like to work on. But of course, I also have projects with not my own hand spun yarn that I'm working through, so we shall see how far along I get in any of these endeavors. But yeah, this is what I have so far from Tour de Fleece. I I haven't been spinning every day. I haven't been, you know, I've just been keeping up with myself, you know, just challenging number one over here. But it's really cool if you're interested, if you haven't been following along on Instagram or even here on YouTube. A lot of people are spinning up some really cool, funky yarns, some really beautiful, consistent, thin yarns. People are doing everything. I am not able to spin quite as much quantity, I think, as some of, or, you know, as a spindle spinner. It's you know, you can only go so fast. Although, that being said, I've seen some spindle spinners online are really getting a lot out of their spindles. So, who am I to say? I think that's it. No, that's not it. I also have this that I have to think of what to do with. This is also Blueface Leicester and silk. And I made a video of myself making this. I'll put it somewhere, maybe even below the video. But there's a long section of plying. I don't know how to edit these things. I'm learning. Come along with me. But I don't know what to do with this. I think it's wonderful. It's really fluffy. I love it. But I don't know what to make with any of these things. I don't usually knit with lace weight, so and all my yarn that I make is lace weight, so I've got to figure out something to do with it. That is it, I think. Yes. Thank you. Thank you very much for coming along with me today, surveying what I have made so far. We're, you know, categorizing these things, and I hope to see you next time. Let me know what you're making and doing for Tour de Fleece. Bye.